Have you ever wondered what your future self would tell you about your biggest failures? What if the perfect lives you see online are hiding a brutal truth? In this profound video, we peel back the layers of illusion. We'll reveal what happens when quitting feels like the only option and empower you to push through. Discover how to disarm the people who laugh at your failures, turning their mockery into your motivation. Stay until the very end because we're going to show you how to transform your deepest pain into unstoppable power, unlocking a level of resilience you never knew you possessed. Get ready to rewrite your story. What if the moments you felt most broken were actually setting the stage for your greatest triumphs? We've all been there, staring at an impossible challenge, reeling from a crushing setback, or feeling the sting of failure. In those quiet moments, it's easy to believe that we're alone, that our struggles are unique, or that we simply aren't enough. We learn from a young age that success is a straight line, defined by gold stars and applause, leading us to believe that every misstep is a sign of fundamental flaw. This conditioning makes us terrified of getting things wrong, of being laughed at, and most of all, of being seen as anything less than perfect. In this deeply personal and transformative video, we begin by reaching out to our younger selves about failing. Imagine receiving a letter from your future self, filled not with judgment, but with profound understanding and a radical truth. You're supposed to fail. This section unveils the compassionate truth that falling isn't the opposite of flying. It's an inherent part of the journey. We'll revisit the raw, unfiltered moments of childhood embarrassment and early rejections, showing you how each seemingly devastating stumble was, in fact, a hidden key to something bigger, shaping your voice, deepening your empathy, and forging an unbreakable spirit. This isn't just about accepting failure. It's about seeing it as a mentor, a mirror, and a map to your true potential. But our personal battle with failure is often exacerbated by an external force, the success illusion, what we don't see on Instagram. We are constantly bombarded by filtered faces, curated captions, and highlight reels of perfect lives that exist only in pixels. This digital performance culture fosters a dangerous environment where success is about visibility and aesthetics, and failure becomes a shameful secret. We'll expose the hidden costs of this illusion, the credit card debt behind the designer bag, the panic attacks behind the polished posts, the loneliness behind the luxury vacation. This section will empower you to stop comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel, reclaim your own definition of success, and find peace in your authentic, messy, and beautiful journey of becoming. You'll learn to appreciate the invisible forms of success, like setting boundaries, healing old wounds, and learning to rest, that truly build a grounded, sustainable life. In the darkest moments, when quitting feels like the only option, it can seem like your dreams are decaying and the silence screams louder than your courage. This video explores the profound human experience of hitting rock bottom, sharing a powerful, relatable story of someone who almost gave up. You'll discover that even the most admired successes have faced their own moments of quiet desperation, moments where they question their worth and their entire path. This section will equip you with the understanding that wanting to quit isn't a sign of weakness, but an indicator that you're about to do something truly meaningful. It's a call to stay one more round, to give the story another page, to remember that you're not broken, but simply in the middle of a powerful transformation. And then there are the people who laugh at your failures, the I told you so's disguised as jokes, the quiet cruelty from those who once believed in you. This segment bravely confronts the pain of public humiliation and private mockery. will help you understand that their laughter often stems from their own fear of trying, a defense mechanism to justify their own safe choices. You'll learn how to disarm their judgment, protect your inner fire, and transform their skepticism into fuel for your own rise. Because while their laughter may be the wind, you are the flame, and flames learn to dance in the wind. Finally, we culminate with a profound revelation, from fear to fuel, turning pain into power. This section challenges the deeply ingrained belief that fear and pain are enemies. Instead, we show you how these intense emotions are, in fact, raw energy, the very forge that tempers steel, the pressure that creates diamonds. Through powerful metaphors and a compelling personal story, you'll learn to transform your wounds into wisdom, your grief into growth, and your fear into purpose. This isn't about avoiding the hard times, it's about walking through them and emerging stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. If you're ready to embrace every part of your story and use it to build an unshakable foundation for your future, then this video is your ultimate guide. Let's dive in.
Tender, honest, forgiving, empowering. Dear me, you probably won't understand this now, and that's okay. You're still figuring out who you are, and you think the world is watching your every move. You're terrified of getting things wrong, of being laughed at, of being average. You've been taught that perfection is the path, that the gold star matters, that applause means success. So you try to be flawless. You edit your words. You hide your curiosity when the answer feels too risky. You give up quietly when you think others are better. But I need to tell you something no one around you dared to say out loud. You're supposed to fail. Let that sink in. Not because you're not good enough, not because you're unworthy, but because failing is how we shed our skin and grow new layers. Because life isn't a straight line. It's a series of falls and rises, again and again, until you realize that falling isn't the opposite of flying. It's part of it. I wish I could show you the nights I spent crying, thinking I'd ruined everything, the rejections I thought would break me, the silence after auditions, interviews, essays, confessions. I wish I could show you how every time I thought I'd lost the game, I was actually being handed the key to something bigger. You won't believe this now, but your greatest teachers won't be your grades, your trophies, or even your mentors. They'll be the moments you wanted to disappear, the ones that made you question your worth, the ones that whispered, "You're not enough," but you are. You always were. Remember the first time you raised your hand in class and the teacher said, "That's wrong." Your cheeks burned. You felt so small. But you were brave. You asked anyway. That was a win. Remember the time you didn't make the team? You stared at the list twice, hoping your name would appear. It didn't. You cried in the bathroom, thinking you didn't have what it took. But then you practiced every single afternoon. And the next year, you made it. That wasn't just a win. That was a transformation. You thought the world expected perfection. But what it actually needs is people who keep going. People who dare. People who fall, bleed, get back up and try again. I know you think failure is an ending. It isn't. It's a doorway, a detour, a redirection. It's life saying, "You're not done. There's more to see, more to become." Please stop thinking every stumble is a sign you're weak. It's not weakness. It's evidence of effort, of risk, of heart. Some of your best decisions will come after your worst moments. Some of your most beautiful relationships will grow from places of pain. And yes, you will fail, but you will also rise. There will be a day when you're standing in front of a room, telling your story, and people will lean in, not because you were perfect, but because you were honest, because your scars will remind them of their own. You will look into someone's eyes, someone younger, someone afraid, and you will say, "I've been there, and I survived. So will you." That's your gift. That's the beauty of failing forward. You're going to think that success means never falling, but success is simply the courage to show up, even after you've fallen. I wish I could protect you from the heartbreaks, from the judgment, from the nights of doubt, but I wouldn't, because those moments, they shape you. They give your voice depth, your presence weight, your heart compassion. You'll realize that empathy is born from cracks in the soul, that you'll connect with people not because you've won, but because you've struggled and shared it. One day, you'll stop fearing the word failure. You'll reframe it. You'll see it for what it truly is: feedback, fuel, freedom. You'll come to understand that failure isn't personal, it's universal. We all get knocked down. What defines us is whether we stay down or rise with a lesson in our hands. And you, my younger self, you rise over and over again. You'll stop seeing failure as a crack in your identity. You'll start seeing it as an invitation to evolve. You'll stop performing for the applause. You'll start living for the truth. You'll no longer chase someone else's version of success. You'll create your own, on your terms, with your story, with your scars, and you'll find joy, deep, grounded joy in the process. There's something powerful that happens when you stop fearing failure. You begin to play bigger, to speak louder, to love fuller. You no longer avoid risk. You embrace it. You dance with the unknown. You stop trying to fit in. You start learning to belong to yourself. And that's where freedom begins. So, here's what I want you to know, and please hold this close. Failure is not your enemy. It is your mentor, your mirror, your map. When the world tells you to aim for perfection, aim for truth. When they offer comfort zones, choose growth zones. When they mock your fall, smile. You are in motion. One day, everything you feared will become your strength, and you will look back not with regret, but with gratitude, because failure didn't destroy you, it revealed you. And for that, I am so proud of you. With love, me, the one who kept failing forward and finally learned to fly. It all looks so perfect, doesn't it? Filtered faces, curated captions, million-dollar mornings, success in a square, one scroll, and suddenly you feel behind. Not enough, not fast enough, not successful enough. But what if I told you it's not real? You see the highlight reel, not the breakdowns between takes, not the anxiety before the post, not the voice in their head whispering, "What if no one likes this?" We live in the age of performance, of illusion, of perfectly crafted personas, and nowhere is that more dangerous than in how we portray success. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, they've become digital billboards for a life that often only exists in pixels. But let's get honest for a moment. What don't we see? We don't see the credit card debt behind the designer bag. We don't see the 17 drafts behind the spontaneous caption. We don't see the loneliness behind the luxury vacation. We don't see the burnout behind the business launch. Success today isn't about depth, it's about visibility, aesthetics, impressions, algorithms. Here's the problem. When success becomes a performance, failure becomes shameful. So we don't talk about it. We bury it. We edit it out. And the silence spreads. It tells you, you're the only one struggling. Everyone else has it figured out. You're behind. But you're not behind. You're just living in reality, while the rest of the internet lives in a well-lit fantasy. Let's pause here. Imagine someone scrolling on their phone. They see a post. Just closed my 7-figure deal. Hashtag grind never stops. What they don't see is the 3 years that person spent doubting their business, the time they almost gave up and took a 9-to-5 job out of fear, the panic attacks, the partnerships that failed, the therapy sessions, the 3 a.m. tears no one talks about. They just see the end result, the champagne, but never the climb. What if we measured success differently? Not by followers, not by likes, not by titles or Teslas or travel vlogs, but by resilience, by how many times you stood back up, by how gently you treat yourself when things fall apart, by how real you're willing to be in a world that rewards performance. Because this illusion we're sold, it's not sustainable. Chasing external success with an empty internal world is a slow form of self-abandonment. To the one who feels behind right now, breathe. You're not behind. You're healing. You're building. You're waking up from the illusion. That version of you who believes they should have made it by now, they were following a script that was never yours to begin with. Rip it up. Write your own. Let's talk about the invisible forms of success no one posts about. Saying no to something that looks good but doesn't feel right. Walking away from toxic productivity. Going to therapy. Healing generational trauma. Learning to rest without guilt. Starting over in silence. Choosing peace over validation. These aren't sexy for the algorithm, but they're revolutionary for the soul. You are not your follower count. You are not your revenue chart. You are not the hustle you post. You are the quiet decision to try again when no one is watching. You are the courage to feel it all, the fear, the doubt, the heartbreak, and still keep going. That's success, and it doesn't always photograph well. Left, she's in Bali, posing with a smoothie. Right, she's crying in her hotel room, missing home. Left, he just bought a luxury car. Right, he's in debt and deeply insecure. Left, best month in business. Right, quiet desperation and a fear of being found out. Let this be your reminder. You don't have to perform to be worthy. You don't have to keep up. You don't have to fake the finish line just to feel seen. Real success is sustainable, honest, grounded, quiet sometimes. So what do we do now? We reclaim the definition of success. We unfollow accounts that make us feel less. We post what's true, not what performs. We talk about our failures, not just our trophies. We ask better questions. Does this fulfill me? Does this align with my values? Who am I when I'm not performing? And most of all, we forgive ourselves for not being where we thought we'd be, because we're exactly where we're meant to grow from. They smile, not because they've made it, but because they finally know they don't have to chase an illusion anymore. They're enough. Right here, right now, in the mess, in the becoming, in the truth. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You're not late. You're on your own timeline, and your story is still being written. There are moments in life when the silence screams louder than the noise. Moments when your dreams weigh more than your willpower. Moments when your mind whispers the words you promised you'd never say. I don't think I can do this anymore. Meet Daniela. She left the corporate world to chase a dream, to create a fashion brand that represented real people. Not models, not perfection, but raw, beautiful humanity. She invested everything, her savings, her weekends, her sense of safety, and for a while, the spark was enough. Daniela believed in the impossible. She sold her car, moved into a tiny studio, launched a handmade collection from her living room. But the truth? Dreams can be lonely, especially when the world doesn't clap on cue. Her first launch, 6 sales, 3 were friends. Her first reel, 12 views. The money ran low, the doubt ran high. She kept going until the morning came when she couldn't. She had written the words 3 times. I failed, and she believed them. She stared at her designs and wondered why she ever thought she had something special. She thought about all the people she didn't want to disappoint, her parents, her partner, herself. And then she did something she hadn't done in months. She cried, not from pain, but from emptiness. That was her moment. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just quiet and unbearably honest. She wasn't angry. She wasn't even sad anymore. She was tired. Tired of trying, tired of pretending, tired of being resilient. She opened her phone and typed out a message to her mom. I think I need to come home. I gave it everything, and it's not enough. But she didn't send it. Not yet. Because somewhere beneath the weight of fear and fatigue, a question flickered in her mind. What if tomorrow is different? What if it's not the end, just the test before the chapter shift? Quitting often feels like the only option when you're measuring progress through a magnifying glass. When every failure feels fatal, when comparison steals your breath. But the truth, you're not alone in that moment, and you're not weak for feeling it. Let me tell you something about success. Most people you admire, the ones with millions of followers, best-selling books, sold-out tours, have had their Daniela moment. They've sat on their version of that kitchen floor. They've typed the same "I give up" message. They've questioned their worth, their voice, their entire path.
What makes them different isn't magic. It's this. They didn't quit on their worst day. They gave the story another page. She didn't leap back into hope. She didn't post a motivational quote. She just decided to try one more time. She emailed 2 old clients. She repurposed scraps into one new design. She filmed a story, not a pitch, just her truth. One of those clients replied and shared her story. That story was shared again and again. A teacher in Brooklyn wore her jacket to school and posted a selfie. A nurse in Argentina ordered one as a reminder that she still matters. The ripple started small, but it moved. Fast forward 3 years. Daniela now leads a team of 5. She's not a millionaire, but she's creating, and more importantly, she's living her values. So let's pause. This isn't just about a fashion brand. It's not even just about business. It's about you. Because maybe today, you're Daniela. Maybe your dream feels like it's decaying. Maybe the rejection stings. Maybe the silence is louder than your courage. And maybe you're wondering if it's time to let go. Here's what I want to tell you, as someone who's walked that fog. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to glow. You don't even have to believe. You just have to stay long enough for belief to find you again. Because every masterpiece began as a messy draft. Every breakthrough was once a breakdown. Every overnight success had 1,000 "maybe I should quit" moments. You're allowed to rest, but not to disappear. The world still needs what only you can give. So when quitting feels like the only option, sit down, drink water, scream, cry, pray, sleep if you must. But before you throw it all away, ask yourself, is this the end or just the hard part? And then whisper, I don't have to win today. I just have to stay one more round. They're all one decision away from discovering the power of not giving up. You're not weak for wanting to quit, but maybe, just maybe, you're stronger for choosing not to. Daniela walks through her new studio. She pauses, looks at her first ever jacket, now hanging on the wall. She smiles, not with pride, but with peace. This story didn't end where it almost did, and neither will yours. It's supposed to be a joyful gathering. The house smells like home. The faces are familiar. The jokes are light. But your heart feels heavy because deep inside, you're carrying something no one else can see. Failure. Not a small one. Not the kind you can brush off with a maybe next time. But the kind that breaks your rhythm, dents your self-worth, and echoes in your sleep. You tried to build something. You dreamed out loud. You took a risk, and it didn't work. You failed. And tonight you'll have to face the unspoken sentence.
I told you so. So, how's your little business going? Wait, didn't you quit that already? Man, I knew that stuff was a waste of time. Back to reality, huh? Laughter erupts around the table, but it doesn't feel warm. It burns. You smile because what else can you do? You play along, nod, laugh softly. You become the punchline of your own story. You feel exposed, naked in a room full of people wearing masks. Masks of politeness, masks of love. But behind them, judgment. It hurts more because it comes from people who once believed in your future. People who once clapped when you got an A+ in school. People who hugged you tight when you graduated. People who said, you're going to do great things. But now that you've stumbled, they forget. Why does this hurt so much? Why do I feel ashamed for trying? Why do they enjoy this? It's not just the failure, it's the mockery. That quiet cruelty disguised as a joke. The laughter of strangers is annoying, but the laughter of family? It carves itself into your ribs. It echoes long after the dinner ends. It follows you into the night. It becomes a ghost, showing up in every silent moment, whispering, "You're not enough." You remember what it took to even try. The courage, the sleepless nights, the hope you fed, little by little, even when the world gave you nothing in return. But none of them saw that. They only saw the result. They only saw the crash. What they don't understand is this. You didn't fail because you were weak. You failed because you dared. You leaped into the unknown. You chose discomfort over regret, and that is something most of them never did. Let that sink in. The people who laugh at your failures are often the ones too afraid to try. Their mockery isn't truth, it's protection, a defense mechanism to justify their own fear of risk. Because if your courage meant nothing, then they were right to play it safe. They laugh at what they don't understand. They mock the part of you that reflects something missing in them, bravery. And yet it still hurts. Don't let anyone tell you it shouldn't. You're human. You wanted support, not sarcasm. You wanted belief, not backhanded comments. You didn't fail them. You just became too real for them. You breathe in, and it stings. But this is where resilience begins. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't need to defend your dreams. What you need is to keep going, to rebuild, to rewrite the story, to remember that failure is never final unless you let it be. Real life echoes. J.K. Rowling was laughed at after 12 rejections. Walt Disney was told he had no imagination. Einstein couldn't speak until he was 4. People laughed at them too, and then they watched them rise. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be tired. But what you're not allowed to do is let their laughter become your truth. Because you know who you are. You know what you felt when you believed in that idea. That dream didn't come from nowhere. It came from a fire inside you that they will never understand. One day they'll say, "I always knew you had it in you. I was just joking, you know. You've changed. I'm proud of you." You'll smile, not because you need their approval, but because you no longer do. Their laughter was the wind, but you were always the flame. And flames, they learn to dance in the wind. Let them laugh. You're not done yet. You alone. Head down, sitting on the floor, dim lighting, silence, except your breath. Fear. It starts small, like a whisper, a chill down your spine, a question that crawls into your chest at night. What if I'm not enough? What if I fail again? What if this pain never goes away? Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it sits quietly and waits for you to believe it. Your body remembers. The tremble in your hands, the tightness in your throat when someone doubted you, the emptiness after giving your all and losing anyway. But here's the secret no one tells you. Fear is not the enemy. Pain is not your prison. They're the fuel. You see, pain is pressure, and pressure creates diamonds.
Fear is fire, and fire tempers steel. What breaks most people can build you. Think of every great thing you admire. It didn't come from comfort. It came from breaking, from falling, from crying in the dark, and deciding, this is not how my story ends. Your pain is a forge, your heartbreak, a hammer, your fear, the flames. And you're the blacksmith of your destiny. You didn't wake up powerful. You became powerful through the betrayals, the loneliness, the quiet days when nobody clapped, the nights when giving up felt easier than going on. But you chose to move. 1 inch, 1 scream, 1 tear at a time. That's power. A seed must break to grow. A sword must be burned to sharpen. A phoenix must burn to rise. So must you. They told you to fear failure, but failure was your teacher. They told you to fear pain, but pain taught you how to feel, how to listen, how to empathize. You've walked through storms others ran from. You've loved with a heart that's been bruised and still beats bravely. That's your superpower. You've been told since childhood that being strong means not crying, that real winners don't feel pain, that emotion is weakness. But the truth? Emotion is your engine, pain is your teacher, fear is your compass. You fear what matters, so if it scares you, go there, run toward it, own it. Your fear is pointing at your growth. Your pain is proof you're alive. Now, turn it into purpose.
There was a girl, 19 years old, dropped out of college, heartbroken, depressed, afraid. Her parents said she was a disappointment. Her friends stopped calling. She thought about ending it all. But one morning, after crying for 5 hours straight, she whispered to herself, "Okay, if I'm still here, I might as well fight." She started painting, then journaling, then applying for jobs, then creating content. 5 years later, she owns a creative agency. She's not famous, but she's free and alive because she turned her fear into fire. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide, I won't let this pain go to waste. That heartbreak, write about it. That failure, talk about it. That fear, name it. Then chase it. Turn your wounds into words. Turn your grief into growth. Turn your fear into fuel. It's okay to scream, to break down, to feel like you're drowning. But when you come back up for air, don't leave empty-handed. Bring the pain with you and use it. Pain is like fire. It can burn you or warm you. It can consume or illuminate. You choose what you do with it. This chapter won't last forever, but it can define you if you let it. Pain can be your prison or your permission to evolve, to speak, to build, to become. You're stronger now, not because the pain stopped, but because you stopped hiding from it. Fear is a liar, but also a map. Pain is not the end, but the beginning. Your story is not over. The fire didn't destroy you, it revealed you. Keep going. Turn your fear into fire. Turn your pain into power.
We've journeyed through the deeply personal landscape of failure, fear, and resilience. You opened a letter to your younger self, discovering that every stumble is a step towards evolution. We unmasked the success illusion on social media, empowering you to detach from external validation and embrace your authentic worth. You learned how to persevere when quitting feels like the only option, recognizing that moments of despair are often preludes to profound breakthroughs. We confronted the people who laugh at your failures, transforming their mockery into fuel for your relentless pursuit of growth. And finally, you witnessed the incredible alchemy of turning pain into power, understanding that your deepest challenges are the very forge of your strength. But how do you keep this powerful momentum going? How do you consistently apply these profound mindset shifts when daily life throws new curveballs, new reasons to doubt? In the next part of this series, we will equip you with a daily blueprint for sustained resilience, diving into practical exercises and repeatable rituals that hardwire courage and confidence into your very being, ensuring that your path forward is not just inspired, but incredibly effective. You've just received a masterclass in converting adversity into advantage. Remember, your journey is unique, messy, and infinitely powerful precisely because of your scars, not despite them. The strength you possess isn't about never falling. It's about the unwavering courage to rise again and again, with a lesson in hand and fire in your soul. This transformation isn't just about changing how you see failure. It's about changing how you live. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one illusion of success you've seen online that made you feel inadequate? And how will you now reframe that going forward? Share your honest thoughts in the comments below. Your vulnerability empowers us all. This video is a pivotal chapter in understanding the true nature of failure and building unwavering resilience. If this video spoke to your heart, challenged your limiting beliefs, or ignited a new spark of courage within you, subscribe to Bookish Enlightenment. Join our growing community dedicated to illuminating minds, mastering mindset, and building lives of profound purpose and impact. Hit the notification bell so you're always the first to receive our empowering new content. Leave a comment below. Your voice is invaluable. What other topics related to mindset, resilience, or overcoming challenges would you like us to explore in future videos? Your questions and insights directly shape our content. Share this video with anyone who needs to hear this message. Someone struggling with self-doubt, caught in the comparison trap, or feeling the weight of perceived failure. Help us spread the profound truth that our deepest setbacks can become our greatest strengths. Remember, you are stronger than you know. You are capable of turning ashes into triumph. The fire didn't destroy you, it revealed you. Keep embracing your truth, keep moving forward, and keep transforming every challenge into a testament to your unyielding spirit. Thank you for being here, for being brave enough to dive deep within. Until next time, keep writing your extraordinary story, one resilient step at a time.